How you doing, gamers? My name is John with Gamester81.com. This is going to be my review over Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, the arcade version. There were several other versions that came out as well. I'll get to that in a second. These games were based on the movie with Michael Jackson. The movie came out on October 29th, 1988 in theaters. It did very well. It actually features Joe Pesci as Mr. Big, who is the bad guy in the movie. It includes a lot of music videos from the Bad album from Michael Jackson. It's actually ran 93 minutes, came out in theaters, did really well. A couple years later, actually a year later, in 1989, publisher US Gold, which is no longer around, they published a game called Michael Jackson's Moonwalker for the home PCs at the time. So including, among others, MSX Computer, the Amiga, Atari ST, Commodore 64, ZX Spectrum as well. Gameplay is unique in the sense that a lot of the stages were top-down perspective, very similar to like Gauntlet, for example, or if you played the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for the NES. There's some stages like that. Kind of the graphical style looks very similar to that, like that. Also, the songs that were from the movie Moonwalker are also featured in the PC port, and some of the songs were not featured in the other ports. The other ports being in 1990, Sega published and developed one for both the Sega Master System and Sega Genesis. This is more of a platforming game when the whole goal is to save kids, and this is the goal for all three games. The last one that came out in 1990 also came out by Sega, and it was actually developed by Sega and a company called Triumph, and it's a great beat 'em up in the arcades, and it's also called Michael Jackson Moonwalker. Superior graphics for the arcades at the time because the arcade could just process more. That's what I'm going to talk about in this review. So let's take a closer look at the gameplay footage and a little bit of history about Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, the arcade. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker came out in the arcades in 1990, came out in North America before it hit Japan. It was developed by Sega. It's a really fun and unique beat 'em up by Sega. A lot of the beat 'em ups at the time were more side-scrolling beat 'em ups like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by Konami or Golden Axe came out earlier by Sega. This is a lot different in gameplay style, as you can see. The goal is very similar to the Sega console ports in the sense that you have to save children and defeat enemies. Although this is a beat 'em up, those are more platforming games. You have Bubbles the chimpanzee right here, which is Michael Jackson's real-life chimpanzee at the time. You collect bubbles and you turn into this robotic Michael Jackson, which gives you really cool powers. Another really great ability is there's actually a button you can push, and it's called Dance Magic. And you hit that, you have a lot of people on screen, you hit it, and you all go into a really cool dance, and it basically hurts a lot of people on screen. If you're playing a boss, then it causes significant damage to that boss. So as you can see in the bottom left corner is how many guys I have left, my power I have left. You'll see some legs icons. That's my Dance Magic icon. So it shows you can collect those by saving children every once in a while. They'll give you one of those, also give you some health points, which is great. This is definitely a quarter eater in the sense that it takes a lot of quarters to beat this game. There are 5 stages in this game, and every stage has a different Michael Jackson theme song, which is part of the Moonwalker movie. One thing I really like about the gameplay also is the ability to hold down your action button. So as you can see, Michael Jackson, when you hit it, a spark flies, it causes some damage. If you hold down that button, you can actually hold a supercharge and cause more damage. When you're Michael Jackson as a robot here, you can hold it down and it actually launches rockets, which is very cool. This hardware itself, this game itself, was built on the Sega System 18 hardware motherboard. So only 10 different arcades came out, including Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. And so not many arcade games came out for this on this hardware. Probably the most other well-known is called Alien Storm, which is ported over to the Sega Genesis and stuff like that. But one downfall about this hardware is it has a suicide battery, meaning if the battery dies, or when it dies, not if, because it eventually will, actually kills the motherboard, rendering the whole game useless. So these arcade games are hard to find, unfortunately. And since Michael Jackson's death, even the Sega Genesis port and the Sega Master System port, and even the PC game, actually is pretty hard to find, and the value has gone significantly up. But if you ever have an opportunity to play Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, I certainly encourage you guys to check it out. At least check it out on MAME. It's a really fun game, especially with multiplayer. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you guys commenting, subscribing as always. We'll see you guys soon. Take care. Happy gaming.